So this is a film that has been suggested in our comment section for quite a long time for us to review. But the hard thing is, when we can't actually access to review it, we can't review it. But we have finally seen it, so here is our review of God's Own Country.
It came out, so now we can check it out, and now we can review it, and now it's a thing, and now we're here, and then let's do this. So God's Own Country is the first film from writer-director Francis Lee, and the film is basically set in present-day rural UK, somewhere in the United Kingdom, somewhere in England.
I think it's Scotland.
Scotland, just below Scotland, something like that. Our main character, Johnny, is kind of this angry dude who has to kind of work on his father's farm. His father's like seriously ill. We get this guy, he's gay, and his father enlists the help of this Romanian dude to basically come and just assist on the farm because it's too much work just for this one kid. And over the course of the film, we get to see this kind of relationship bloom between these two young guys, and I think this is a really, really interesting film. I've had a couple of really, really good gay films recently. And I think with this one, what really struck us kind of instantly was the approach to this story. It's like a really, really aggressive type film. When you look at other ones we've seen recently, like Moonlight or Call Me By Your Name, or even by extension Carol, they're all really delicate, precise type movies. And this one here really just feels like it's a really kind of aggressive story. It's all handheld, it's getting in there. And what it develops into is something really, really beautiful.
Our two leads of Josh O'Connor and Alex Secareanu.
Why are we so bad with pronunciation?
I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name. Our two leads here are absolutely fantastic. They give performances that are just completely natural. It almost seems like a documentary at times, the way they're kind of involved with one another. Like, it's just raw, pure humanity. But I think what I really love about these two characters is they're just complete polar opposites. And we get that from the first glance. I mean, like, our lead character played by Josh O'Connor kind of looks at this dude and he's like, oh, fuck's sake. And it's just, it perfectly surmises these two characters. They're just complete opposites, and it's a really good way to introduce kind of, I suppose, these characters and the world they're living in.
And that's part of why, again, I found this relationship so interesting, because there was no kind of initial intrigue and then that intrigue developing. It was kind of more of a backpedaling type thing where there's an animosity instantly between these two characters, and over time that gets broken down. I think what's really interesting about this film is that we're actually shown like gay sex within like the first 10 minutes of this movie. Where quite often in these movies it's kind of a build-up thing. We build up to that moment and we have a connection with two characters. It's just the main character and some other guy, but it's a really tight kind of like aggressive, disassociative, dispassionate type thing. And over the course of the film, it's a film where our main character understands sex, he understands lust. But over the course of the movie, it's definitely working backwards from that and finding kind of the sensuality and the passion in it and the connection. And I think that's a really, really interestingly handled way of approaching just a love story in general, because that's definitely what this film blossoms into. And I think it's a very, very intriguing approach and definitely worked in this film's favour.
Yeah, we have a film here that's about introducing and understanding love when one is in a situation that sucks. They're fighting their own inner demons, they don't like the life they're living, and they don't like the country that they're in. Then we have an outsider be introduced who, this outsider in the film is pretty much someone of pure love, and loves what he does for a living, and just has a love and appreciation of the world. So when we have two characters that are complete opposites like that, of course they fight and, you know, they're arguing with one another, but over time, it creates a really interesting dynamic because we have our supporting character here essentially showing our lead character love and reconfirming the fact that, like, look, the place you're in isn't all that bad. Your situation isn't all that bad. It can work. And it just creates and develops a really nice story that is just emotionally and beautifully engaging.
The way the movie handles intimacy as a whole is very, very captivating, just because it's like set on this kind of filthy, rainy, muddy, dirty farm. So there's such an interesting contrast in all scenes. This is a film that works really well with contrast and with symbolism. There's a lot of times in this movie where you're like, that thing that we're being shown, which in quite often in movies that are more artistically orientated, you kind of go, I don't know why they're showing me this. Here, there's a clear contrast between those ideas shown. So we'll go straight out of the scene and then we'll have like an establishing shot. But that establishing shot will make sense because of the context we're given from the scene before. So it's really smartly directed in that way.
The cinematography of this film is absolutely outstanding. We both walked out and we're like, my God, that film was just shot so superbly. The film works in a lot of low lighting situations and is often quite dark or overcast, which actually for filming is very handy. But here it finds a way to make it feel natural and still somehow engage lights in different scenes to make it kind of glow or give a little bit of something
just a bit of flavor. It's just a really, really earthy film. It hardly uses any music. It feels incredibly organic. I do want to say though, I don't think the film, as much as I've said, I really find the approach unique. It's not necessarily revolutionary. I don't really think it has the kind of power to stay for too long, at least with me. I don't think this is the kind of movie I'm going to be thinking about overly too much, but I know the experience of watching it, I was completely gripped by it, and I was definitely absorbed in it, but I just don't know how far it'll go beyond that. I think there's still moments where more stuff could have been mined out of the film, but that being said, I think it just does really work across the board.
So it seems Australia was the last place on earth to get this film, but I mean, look, if you can access it, we do highly recommend it, and we are going to plant a big old 8.3 on this film because it banged and it's well worth your time.
So that was our review of God's Own Country. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you
Crave
did.
more banter.
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, all at Breaking Banter.
I almost forgot the outro then.
Yep.
That would have been impressive.
Ah.